Every campus has classrooms for learning, but where will students turn their ideas into reality? Give them one room, give them an innovation hub.
We are exploring a blueprint to radically transform Indian educational institutions. We're talking about moving completely away from those static, traditional learning centers that rely so heavily on rote memorization. Instead, the goal is to shift them into dynamic, high-energy ecosystems of real creation. It's a complete shift from quiet examination halls to vibrant innovation hubs where students are actively questioning, researching, building prototypes, and solving actual real-world problems.
Think about the stark contrast between the old way of learning and this new action-oriented model. The traditional pipeline is pretty straightforward, right? You learn, you remember, you write an exam, and you get your marks. Honestly, it essentially just produces knowledge consumers. But the new action-oriented pipeline of an innovation hub is entirely different. You still learn, sure, but then you question, you experiment, you create, you solve, and finally, you share. This isn't just a minor tweak to a syllabus. It's about fundamentally rewiring how a student engages with the world around them. Instead of merely learning what already exists, students get the opportunity to develop something completely new.
And really, this represents the ultimate goal of the entire framework, a massive evolution from a traditional education institution to a true innovation institution. And I want to be clear, this isn't achieved by just tossing a few new computers into a lab and calling it a day. No way. It requires a fundamental shift in the entire culture of a campus. It's about making absolutely sure that students evolve from being passive consumers of knowledge into active, empowered creators of knowledge.
Enter the Innovation Hub, a permanent culture of experimentation.
So, what actually is an innovation hub? Well, it's definitely not just an after-school club. It's a dedicated ecosystem built right inside the institution. And the absolute most critical element here is creating a safe-to-fail environment. You see, in traditional setups, failure literally means losing marks. But here, failure is just a crucial, expected part of the process. Hackathons and competitions are great, but they usually only happen occasionally. The hub creates a permanent, everyday space where students can try, fail, learn, modify, and try again without any fear of judgment whatsoever. It makes innovation a weekly habit, not just a yearly event.
So how exactly does a student navigate the space? It follows a beautifully simple, repeatable journey. First up, they explore new technologies and trends. Second, they ideate to identify real pressing problems. Third, they experiment, building, testing, and inevitably failing and improving. Fourth, they build a tangible prototype. And finally, they aim for actual impact, whether that means launching a startup, publishing groundbreaking research, or just solving a local community issue. It's a structured progression that guides students step by step,
breaking down academic silos, where different disciplines meet.
Now here's a really crucial point. True innovation almost never happens in a vacuum. It happens right at the intersection of different fields. Imagine an authentic Indian campus setting where students who would normally never cross paths in a conventional timetable are suddenly working side by side. If you're tackling a healthcare problem, you might have a medical or Ayurveda student identifying the core issue, an engineering student designing the physical solution, a computer science student writing the AI algorithms, and a commerce student building the business model. This collision of disciplines is where the real magic happens, for sure. It's not just techies talking to techies. It's a vibrant melting pot of ideas.
And because of this incredibly collaborative, hands-on environment, the traditional academic hierarchy completely shifts. Students step totally out of their roles as mere pupils and become hands-on innovators. And the faculty, well, they aren't just lecturers anymore. They step into the critical role of mentors. They guide the projects, offer their deep expertise, and help students navigate roadblocks, rather than simply dictating answers from the front of a room.
Building with emerging technologies. Tools of tomorrow, today.
Look, to prepare students for a rapidly changing AI-driven future, they absolutely need to get their hands dirty. The source material emphasizes that these are practical tools for innovation, not just textbook theories you read about once. We are talking about students actively designing, coding, testing machines, and assembling prototypes. Just picture it, students analyzing real data sets to train generative AI, utilizing IoT sensors, tinkering with robotics, and developing sustainable green technologies right there on their campus. It's about actually doing things, not just staring at computer screens waiting for the bell to ring.
So how does this translate into real-world application? Well, instead of assigning a purely theoretical essay, the hub challenges students with real, pressing problems. Things like, how can we reduce electricity consumption in our campus? Or maybe, How can we significantly reduce food waste in the cafeteria? By tackling questions exactly like this using the cutting-edge technologies we just talked about, the campus itself literally transforms into a living laboratory. The everyday problems become their actual projects.
From curiosity to real impact, building an entrepreneurship pipeline.
This kind of hands-on experimentation translates directly into an entrepreneurship pipeline. Think about it. A student literally doesn't have to wait until graduation to start a business anymore. They identify a problem, develop an idea, build and test a prototype, and then they learn exactly how to pitch it. Inside the hub, they are exposed to design thinking, business modeling, intellectual property rights, and real market research. It's a complete end-to-end journey from a simple spark of curiosity to a full-fledged startup.
When you pull all of these elements together, the sheer volume of daily activity is incredible. It is constantly buzzing. You've got R&D labs for AI and tech running right alongside startup pitching events. You have hackathons bringing those interdisciplinary teams together to solve local community problems. And crucially, there is a global connect. The hub uses webinars and e-meetings to connect students directly with researchers, industry experts, and even other campuses. Because while a single campus can innovate, a network of campuses, that can transform an entire ecosystem. All of these activities develop what we might call ungoogleable skills. I love that term. You really can't test creativity, leadership, or complex problem-solving on a standard multiple-choice exam. But these are exactly the skills students desperately need when they enter the real world. By fostering critical thinking, communication, and deep collaboration, an institution equipped with an active innovation hub massively differentiates itself from conventional colleges. It becomes incredibly attractive to students, to parents, and especially to industry partners.
Creates us to the core message of the source material. Education should not only prepare students for the future, it should give them the opportunity to create the future. This powerful philosophy is the beating heart of the Innovation Hub. It perfectly captures exactly why educational institutions must take this leap. We cannot simply teach students about what is coming, we have to actually hand them the tools and the space to actively experiment with it and build it themselves.
By embracing this model, we ensure that diverse Indian students can stand together inside modern, energetic spaces, completely surrounded by the prototypes, the cutting-edge technology, and the collaborative projects that will ultimately shape our world. The Innovation Hub shouldn't just be some fun extracurricular activity on the side. It needs to become the primary innovation engine of the institution itself. So I'll leave you with this. Is your local educational institution just a place to study the past, or is it an ecosystem deliberately designed to build the future?